Okay, hello there viewers. Alright, today we're going to learn something new. In fact, a very new technique, because we're going to learn something called elementary row operations, and sometimes people just say it as ERO, as you can see here, the ERO method. Why do you need this method? Because you're going to change your matrices. Let's say from matrix A, you're going to inverse it into A inverse. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to give you here for a brief example of introduction. Let's say that's a matrix A. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply, make it into augmented form. What do I mean by augmented form? You're going to multiply, change it into something like this. 1 0 0 1. Basically we are putting the identity on the right hand side. If this is the 2 by 2 matrix, this is what you got. So what about this? Let's say this is 3 by 3 matrices. So the augmented form, it will be, put the line over here, so it becomes 1 0 0. Just basically put the identity on the right hand side. Sorry about it. Becomes something like this. Okay, the idea of doing elementary row operations, which I will explain more in details, the objective is that we are trying to get this and this into one, change into one. Basically, we're going to get the left hand side into the identity. We would like to change that into 1, and we would like to change the other numbers into 0. Change into 0. Same goes for the right hand side, I mean the 3 by 3 matrices. So we would like to change this and this and this into 1, based on just like identity. I'll explain more in details later. I'm just telling you the objective is what we're going to get. The others we would like to change into 0. And if we're able to do it correctly, we get something like this, where the left hand side you get the identity. You can see here, this is the identity, this is the identity. So whatever you got on the right hand side over there, this one and this one, it will be the inverse. So at the beginning of the question just now, the 2 5 1 3, and the right hand side, the 3 by 3 matrices, you get yourself this one become the inverse. It becomes something like this, right? So that's what we would like to get by using elementary row operations. Don't worry, this is something new that you haven't learned in school, so please pay a bit more attention, and I'll explain you the technique that we can do. Okay, I'm going to tell you something simple first. So let's say this is 2 5 1 3. What we're trying to tell you is that the first row, this is what we mean by the first row. This is row 1, or maybe sometimes we just call it as R1, row 1. And same thing as well, we call this one as row 2. If it's 3 by 3 matrices, let's say we got this as your 3 by 3 matrices. So the same concept goes by, that this is row 1, that this is row 2, this is row 3. Okay, this is a new concept, so please get it. Something simple for now. Okay, you got 3 techniques, which is interchanging row. Sometimes I say as exchanging, sometimes I say switch, and say multiplying row, and the most complicated one is adding or minus from another row. Right, so let's have a little look. Let's say I'll show you the interchanging row first. The interchanging. Let's say we start with this one, 2 5 1 3. What do I mean by exchanging rows or switching rows? You know that this is as row 1, we know this is as row 2. What I can do is I can exchange between them. I'm telling you that all the things first, why later, we discuss it later. I can switch them. So if I said row 1, I'm exchanging with row 2, this is what we do, the symbol of exchanging rows. So I get myself into, so row 1 becomes row 2 and row 2 becomes row 1. So I get myself 1 3 2 5. This is what I get after if I do interchanging rows or exchanging rows, or maybe sometimes I just say switch. Alright, or maybe sometimes you would like to multiplying rows. So let's say this is row 1, right? Or maybe sometimes you say, hey, I would like to multiply row 1. So you say row 1 times 2. So what I'll get is 4 10 to 6. I'm telling you all the tools right now. Okay, don't worry, we go to much deeper later. This is what we'll get. This is your new row 1. Okay, the most confusing one is the add or minus from another row. Okay, I show you briefly. Just now I mentioned that we would like to make this one into zeros. Okay, we like to change this into 0. So the thing that we can start right now is that we're focusing on this one first. Let's start with this. Okay, let's start with this 2 first. So how do I make this 2 into 0? So you need to look at the one that above it. So up here is 1, right? So I'm doing this as slowly as possible. Please look at it. So let's say this, you got the 2 from here. So what's the number above it is 1. Okay, so 2, how do I get this into 0? 2 and 1, what operation should I do for me to make it get to 0? So what you do is that you minus 2 minus 1 equals to 0. Not entirely yet, so I need to multiply this with something. What is that? 1 multiply what? So let's say this one I multiply by 2. So 2 minus 2 times 1 equals to 0. Can you see that? So 2 minus 2 times 1 equals to 0. So what we are doing right now is, this one is from, we got it from row 2. Okay, this one we got it from row 1. So what we are doing is row 2 minus here, minus with 2 multiply with row 1. That's how I get equal to 0. When you're doing this operation, so it applies to other numbers as well. So what other numbers can I get from row 2 is 5. Okay, the same operation goes. What is the number above 1 and 5 is 3. So it's 3. And then over there, what do I do just now here? Minus 2, right? So the other numbers, it will just follow from what we write down over here. So minus 2. It's not confusing that much. It's just something new that you haven't learned yet. So 5 minus 2 times 3, this is 6. 5 minus 6 equals to negative 1. So my new number I'll get is my new matrices. So 1, 3 remain as there. So 2, 5 now becomes as the 2, we have done the operation here, we got as 0, and the 5 here, we have done the operation, we got as negative 1. Alright, that's all for the introduction of the techniques that you have and why we're using ERO. So I'll explain on how we apply this technique on the examples below. Alright, all the best, good luck. Please listen very carefully because this topic contains a lot of marks. Thank you.